You watched me beat Pokemon Blue with only a Rattata, you watched me somehow beat Pokemon Crystal with only a single Sunkern, but nothing compares to today's challenge. Today is the day that we figure out, would I be able to beat Pokemon Fire Red with only a single Magikarp? Mah-Dry-Bread, I hear you yelp. But we already know you can't beat Gen 1 with a Magikarp. It can't hit ghosts. Well, hypothetical viewer, you'd be right if this was in Gen 1. However, this is Fire Red, the remake made in Gen 3 where the move Struggle is typeless and thus hits ghosts. I mean, I still don't know if I can pull this off, but I know that it's at least possible. Normally, this is the part where I'd explain the challenges that I expect and the weakness of my Pokemon, but honestly, do I have to? Magikarp has better sets than my Sunkern from my previous challenge, but it is so much worse because it only learns 3 moves, and one of them does nothing. Tackle is weak, Flail is passable, and Splash just makes me waste time without being able to use Struggle. In fact, it learns its first attacking move at level 15, so before that, all I can do is use Struggle after I've splashed 40 times. Magikarp also learns no TMs or HMs, meaning that the only type coverage I'll have is Normal type. So I don't even get the same type attack bonus, and I'm super effective against nothing. In fact, it's not very effective against rock Pokemon, you know, like the first gym leader in the game. Also, it levels slowly. Magikarp is completely useless. Just like last time, I'm writing this script as I go through with the challenge, so all of this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if you think I can do it or not. Personally, I think flat out that I just can't win, but I'll at least make it to the Elite Four. This will probably be the first challenge where I have to max out my level too. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Magikarp. Obviously, I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs like Surf and Strength, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in combat. I also won't use glitches or exploits. I'll be able to use items in battle this time though, because it's probably impossible otherwise. Let's do this. So first I added the game with the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Squirtle with Magikarp so that my rival still has Bulbasaur for added challenge. I then name my Magikarp Katya, the river fish. I then obviously lose to my rival, because I only have Splash. Now is where the real pain begins. I'm pretty much already at a wall. To progress in the game, I need to beat Brock, the rock-type gym leader, but I have no attacking moves until level 15, so I have to go find a Metapod or Kakuna, use Splash 40 times so that I'm out of power points, then use Struggle. In Gen 3, Struggle is a 50 power typeless move that causes Magikarp to take 1/4 of its damage that it deals. This means that I can kill about 2 Metapods before I need to go back to the Poke Center to heal, but when you heal at the Poke Center, you also get all of your power points back, meaning that I then need to splash 40 times again. I could speed this up slightly by healing with potions, but money isn't renewable this early in the game because I don't yet have access to the Versus Seeker. I need to do this all the way till level 15 just to unlock Tackle, an incredibly basic attacking move that's actually a bit weaker than Struggle, and is normal type so it would be resisted by Brock's rock Pokemon, but at least it doesn't hurt me to use. Look at this footage. This is the first Metapod that I found. 7th encounter, by the way, because you're going to run into a lot of other Pokemon that aren't Metapod or Kakuna. It took about 4.5 minutes just to use 30 splashes on it, just for it to start hitting me with struggles of its own, so I had to run so that I could go fight a different one. So I need to find 2 Metapods or Kakuna just to beat one of them. And there's only a 15% chance that I'll find either of them for each encounter. I mean, 15% total between both of them, by the way. So I finally find a second Metapod, and I manage to run out of splashes and start hitting with Struggle. Look at how little damage I do. Actually, who cares about that? Look at how little experience I get. From when I started trying to find my first Pokemon that I could fight, to when I could beat the first Metapod, was 12 minutes. Needless to say, after the first one, I turned off battle scenes and put it to fast text to try and speed it up as much as I could, but that only shaves off about 30 seconds from each fight. That long for just 51 experience, and I need 114 just to level up once. After beating that one Metapod, I had to go heal and get all 40 power points of Splash back again. After a few levels, I was able to beat 2 Pokemon in one go, but still only after using all 40 splashes on a couple of Metapods, and if I was lucky, I could finish off a quick Caterpie on my way out for some extra experience points. I counted. In my quest to level 15, I defeated 82 Pokemon. This took me just over 6 hours. Nearly an entire workday of just walking around, running away from encounters, spamming Splash, and fighting the occasional bug in the forest, just to have to go heal again. At level 15, I gained Tackle and instantly started going to every trainer I could before Brock to try and get some experience. On the second trainer, I got poisoned and fainted on a level 7 wheel. Magikarp is still that useless. It took me 3 tries to beat that trainer. Eventually I take out all the trainers in the forest, grind a little bit extra, and hit level 17. I then go back to deal with my rival for a little bit more experience and cash. I get insanely unlucky with missing, constantly, despite Tackle being 95 accuracy in Gen 3, but eventually win thanks to Bulbasaur not having grass moves yet. I decide to take a crack at Brock just to see how well I match up to him, but I can't even take down his level 12 Geodude. I do about 1 damage per tackle, and even if I were to do more, he spams Defense Curl. I stand absolutely no chance at level 17. I grind in the forest to level 20 before trying another fight with Brock. This time I intentionally run out of tackles and splashes ahead of time so that I can use Struggle, as it's typeless and thus not resisted by Rock. Despite that, I still can't win. I'm able to take down Geodude, but his Onix still had half its health. I then spent another few hours leveling up to level 23 on Pidgeys and Rattata. I would have trained in the forest where the levels are slightly higher, but I just get poisoned all the time. You have no idea how much pro wrestling I marathoned while grinding during this challenge. I got lucky and Geodude didn't fight back very much, leaving me with 40 health going into the Onix fight. I nearly lost it, but I used one of the potions I got back in Viridian Forest to save me. I was originally considering not using a potion just to say I beat Brock without using any items, but good god, I did not want to grind for another few hours. It's already been well over a workday. From the start of the game till now, I just spent almost an entire waking day of my life grinding in Pokemon with a Magikarp to beat Brock just to show you, and the grinding is far from over. I think I earned myself a cheap plug. Follow me on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Twitch, join my Discord, links are in the description. After that I headed east. I'm not going to cover every last battle just because most of them just involve me tackling until I win, followed by running back to the nearest Poke Center. Mount Moon isn't that bad as long as I avoid the hikers and the trainer with the Magnemite. The final trainer battle is an absolute pain because he likes to lower your defense with his Voltorb and whittle you down with Coughing, who tends to poison you. That one took a few tries. Also, once again, because you would ask if I didn't tell you, I picked the Helix fossil. Thanks for all the comments asking anyway last time, by the way. After getting to Cerulean, I decided to grind to level 28. I know I won't be able to beat my rival yet since he starts with a Pidgeotto that knows Sand Attack, so I need to get stronger. I decided to try and take on all the trainers in Misty's gym for some experience, but the first one smoke-screened me so much that I just couldn't win. I got to the point where I decided I just had to hardcore grind, again. An hour later and I'm at level 30, and I learned Flail, Magikarp's last move. It's a 15 power point normal type move that deals more damage the lower my health is. As you can see from this chart, it's only worth using if I have lost more than a third of my health, as that's when it'll be stronger than Tackle. It also has 100 accuracy, slightly better than Tackle's 95. On my second try, I was able to beat the first trainer in Misty's gym by total luck of hitting enough times in spite of Smokescreen. As for Misty herself, Staryu likes to use Harden and Recover, a terrifying combo considering we only have normal attacks. We also instantly get confused off a Water Pulse and hit ourselves 3 times in a row. Yeah, that was a restart. Eventually, I managed to beat Staryu through a lucky crit with a Flail, and next up is Starmie. But we just don't stand a chance and get taken out in 2 hits. We're gonna have to deal with Misty later. I decide that I'll go take a crack at my rival instead. Brandon starts his fight with his Pidgeotto, and I need to take it out fast before it sand attacks me too much. Thankfully, it starts by using Gust instead, a move that does almost nothing. I get hit by 1 sand attack, and thankfully it doesn't take too long to win the fight. I got lucky. Next up though is Bulbasaur, and his Vine Whip instantly takes me out from half health. Magikarp has terrible special defense. This battle wasn't even close. You know what that means? Even more grinding. I want to point out that at this point, we only level up every 50 or so Pokemon we take out. I also want to take this opportunity to remind you to share this video with your friends and all over the internet. Spread the pain, I earned this plug. Eventually, after an ungodly long amount of time, I hit level 33 and decide to attempt fighting my rival again, just to end up getting sand attacked twice and easily losing to Bulbasaur due to Sleep Powder and Vine Whip. It's clear to me at this point that I flat out can't win the fight if I've been sand attacked more than once. I decide to just keep trying the rival fight over and over as I'm getting totally sick of grinding. After a few more tries, I managed to beat Pidgeotto without being hit by a single sand attack, but now I still need luck to beat Bulbasaur. Luck that I don't have, as he instantly puts me to sleep and Vine Whips me to death. I tried the fight over and over, restarting every time I get hit with sand attack, just to usually lose to Bulbasaur. Eventually, I started restarting every time I get put to sleep as well, since I'm as good as dead when that happens, and Sleep Powder is usually his opening move. Eventually, I end up surviving a Vine Whip while awake, and use a strengthened flail to beat Bulbasaur. Arbok can't fight back, so I beat it easily, and I just hardly survive as a Rattata, allowing me to win the fight. This took hours, and easily over 100 attempts. I'm just happy that the first time I beat Bulbasaur, I was able to beat his Rattata, because otherwise this would have been a nightmare. I feel like I should make a rule that every time I waste at least 3 hours of my life trying to do one thing in this challenge, I've earned a cheap plug. Follow me on Twitch, I'm funny at least once a stream. Thankfully, now that he is beat, I can fight the trainers on Nugget Bridge and on the route north of town to get some much needed experience outside of the usual grind. Unfortunately, no matter what path you take, you have to fight a hiker with at least one rock Pokemon. Even being 24 levels ahead of this Geodude and using Flail, I hardly hurt him. I have to resort to using 2 potions just to last long enough to finish him off. I don't bother with the other hiker for obvious reasons. Next challenge is going after Misty again. This time I'm 4 levels higher than last time, but that's only like, what, 2 attack points higher? Magikarp's stat gains are horrible. Staryu just spams Harden and Recover, making it nearly impossible to beat. Pretty much my only chance is if Staryu keeps attacking me rather than getting tankier. I also needed to damage me so that I can use Flail, but if it hardens too much by then, I just lose. About 10 attempts later, I land on 1 health, causing my Flail to be 200 power, so I take Staryu out. Then follow up with a super potion to heal, just to get confused from a water pulse, hit myself, and then get finished off. All of Starmie's moves have 100 accuracy, so I can't even hope for a lucky miss. And here I was thinking that Misty's gym would be one of the easier ones, what with being water type. After a few hours of attempts, I managed to brute force it. A lucky critical hit Flail took out Staryu, get a lucky crit on Starmie, survive the water pulse that killed me so many times with 1 health left, and finished it off with another Flail. This early in the run, this challenge isn't about skill. It's about inhuman patience. Oh hey, did I say it took hours? Everyone comment down below and make YouTube's algorithm like this video. I want a detailed description of the last meal you ate, who made it, what it was, how it was, and if you'd eat it again. The next big battle of the game is on the SSN. By now I'm level 38 thanks to clearing out the optional eastern route, as well as the SSN itself, but I just don't stand a chance. Ivysaur as a Vine Whip is just too much to deal with. You know what that means? More grinding! So I grinded for a little over an hour to get to level 43 just to instantly fail to beating my rival again. Even going into Ivysaur's fight with almost full health, 2 Vine Whips is all it takes to make us faint. Considering that it's a 100 accuracy move, we're pretty much doomed if Ivysaur chooses to use it. That said, I'd rather not spend even more hours grinding, so let's spend hours fighting our rival instead. I quickly realized I have a shot at this when, after a few attempts, I found Ivysaur often opens with the Leech Seed instead of Vine Whip. I decide to just keep trying over and over in case I get a lucky critical hit, and thankfully, an hour later, that's exactly what happens. A lucky crit takes out Ivysaur, although I am Leech Seeded. I decide to use the Super Potion and survive Raticate, and through sheer luck, he misses. Flail almost takes him down, but he actually heals a lot off Leech Life. His Hyper Fang is actually pretty weak thanks to how over-leveled I am. We take him out with a few more attacks, but it leaves us with only 1 Super Potion left. I use it and survive his Confusion and Leech Seed with 25 health, enough that Flail is powerful enough to one-shot Kadabra. For as many attempts as it took this battle, the game finally took pity on me and I was able to win the first attempt where I was lucky enough to beat Ivysaur. If you'll excuse me, I need more super potions. I went ahead and caught 10 Pokemon so that I could get the optional HM5 for Flash to help me out in Rock Tunnel. I also make sure to pick up the Versus Seeker from a girl in Vermilion City Poke Center so that I have a renewable source of money from refighting trainers. As I was catching Pokemon, youngster Joey called asking for a battle and reminding everyone to follow me on Twitter where I make sassy Twitter videos about assembly editing for Bob Wolf.
It's completely free and available to everybody until Nintendo decides to smack it down. All you have to do is go to the website that I'm afraid to link to, but just Google Mario Royale and you'll find it, or just watch Inferno Plus's video on it.
Rock Tunnel is no cakewalk. There are multiple mandatory hikers who all use rock Pokemon. One had a level 25 Geodude that took many attempts to actually beat. I need to hope that he does enough damage to me that Flail is strong, then hope that he starts wasting turns with things like Mud Sport rather than Defense Curl. Eventually, I was able to brute force my way through with a few super potions, but that's not the last of the required hikers. Next was one with a ton of Geodudes, and I did so little damage that even with all of my potions, I was about to run out of power points when he finally beat me. Eventually, I get so desperate that I go back, buy a bunch of super potions, and use up all of my power points on random Pokemon, heal back up with potions, then try the hikers again since struggle is typeless. Even if my attack power is horrible because Magikarp. Thankfully, this time I was able to brute force my way through on the first try. I heal back up with potions and keep moving since I know that there's one more hiker. That one's got 2 Geodudes and a Graveler, but I had enough potions to make it through. The rest of Rock Tunnel was a breeze and I made it to Lavender Town. I head straight for Celadon after a short detour south to beat more trainers. I picked up the power point up, gave it to Flail, grabbed the HM for Fly, and headed to the Team Rocket hideout. I picked up the power point up while I'm down there as well, bringing Flail up to 21 power points. Some of the Rocket Grunts in here are horrible because of their sand shrews. They defense curl so that you can hardly hurt them, sand attack you so that you always miss, and poison sting you so you slowly die. It takes many attempts to beat each one of them. Giovanni, though, was just too tough starting out with an Onix. I decided to go back and see if I'm ready for Lieutenant Surge instead. His gym wasn't bad, but beating him is still too difficult at the moment unless I want to try over and over. I could grind, but I have a better idea. Shopping spree! Now that I have access to the Celadon Pokemart, I can finally buy battle items like X-Attack so that I deal decent damage, and Guard Spec to defend against stat changes like Sand Attack. I can also use a Dire Hit to raise my critical hit chance from 1 in 16 to 1 in 4. I also stock up on super potions because I'm gonna need a lot of those. Special thanks to my friend Mandy for making this song for me. Check out her channel, My Dumb Boyfriend, where her and her boyfriend Dylan review anime comedically, as Dylan knows nothing about anime. I also didn't tell her that I was doing this, and she watches this series, so look forward to seeing her freak out in the comments section. With my newfound strategy of pay my way through fights, I go to Lieutenant Surge. This time, it's a lot easier, as I use 2 X-Attacks as his Voltorb brings me to low enough health that I can sweep the whole gym with a powered up Flail. I then use my newfound powers of Flight to go back to Viridian Forest and to waste all my power points before going back to Giovanni. Even with struggle, I hardly hurt Onix, so I decide to use 6 X-Attacks and a Dire Hit. I still do very little damage, but it's still much more than before. Onix goes down after a few attacks and a lucky crit, as he sends out Rhyhorn next. 1 crit takes it out, and last comes Kangaskhan. It nearly kills me with a bite, so I keep healing and struggling until eventually, I win. I grinded a bit against trainers until I was at level 51 before going to my next big rival fight in the Pokemon Tower. I opened by using 6 X-Attacks to power up, while warding off Sand Attack with Guard Specs. 1 Flail and I beat Pidgeotto, just to go down to 1 Razor Leaf. Fear not, I have an idea. On my second try, I intentionally splash over and over until my health is low against Pidgeotto. This strategy worked great, as between that and my Guard Spec to keep his Growlithe and Gyarados from using Intimidate on me, I was able to sweep his whole team. It's worth pointing out that although this strategy works pretty well, it's far from foolproof. There's no X item that will power up my insanely low special defense, so grass and electric moves are still a death sentence, and I need to grind on trainers often so that I have the money for this strategy to work. Next, I go use up all my power points again and start climbing the Pokemon Tower. Having no power points is the only way that I can hit ghosts, so I just chug potions and battle my way to the top. Thankfully, Ghastlies have low defense and struggle as a physical attack, so I make short work of them. After getting the Pokeflute, I ran around catching another 20 Pokemon. Once you have 30 different kinds of Pokemon, you can pick up the Item Finder that I use to get leftovers from under Snorlax. Weirdly enough, you actually need the Item Finder for the leftovers to appear. Leftovers are a held item that will heal you for 1/16 of your max health every turn. It could possibly make Flail worse in some fights, but overall it seems helpful. Next, I make my way south to Fuchsia City and hit up the move deleter to finally get rid of Splash. Now if I run out of tackles and flails during a battle, I'm not rendered completely useless. I will also be faster to run out of power points any time in the future if I need to struggle to win a fight. I have a surprising amount of freedom in where I go next between Erica's Grass Gym, the Silphco headquarters, and the Poison Gym. I decide to try and clear out every trainer that I can for some more experience and money, then go to the Silphco building. Unlike in the Rattata challenge, I scour this place and take out every trainer that I'm able to. It's awful and boring, but the fact of the matter is that I need every last experience point and Pokédollar that I can get. After another few hours of power leveling on top of fighting every trainer that I could find, our Magikarp is at level 62, and I decide to give the rival battle in Silphco a try. The 6 X attacks and dire hit strategy work great in beating Pidgeotto and one-shotting Venusaur, but by the time I hit Gyarados, the combo of healing off leftovers weakening my flail and Gyarados' Intimidate ability lowering my attack, I wasn't able to beat him and went down in a single bite. You know what that means! Follow me on Twitter. I want to point out that grinding has gotten really difficult. Despite being level 62, Magikarp has an attack stat equivalent to that of a level 28 Diglett. I still white out constantly while fighting new trainers and have to heal after most battles. If I want to grind without constantly going back for healing, I need to grind against wild Pokemon that are around level 20, but then they're so weak that I hardly get any experience. Plus, if I want more money, I'm gonna have to refight trainers. It's completely normal for it to take me 20 to 30 minutes to level up once at this point in the game, and that's if I'm doing well. It's to the point where my HM Pokemon end up leveling up because Magikarp kills things so slowly that everything that knows Whirlwind or Roar will force a party change to an HM Pokemon. I switch back, and then the leftover experience from that constantly happening makes them level up enough to be stronger than Magikarp, despite being less than half his level. Look at this Diglett's stats. I just got this guy for Cut and Dig. He has only ever gotten experience from being forced into battle through Whirlwind and Roar while grinding, and yet he still does way more damage than Magikarp. This Diglett has never attacked before. Eventually, a whole day later, I hit level 70 and go to fight my rival at Silphco again. He sends out his Pidgeot and I tackle to test my strength. Did just about nothing, so I start pumping Magikarp full of battle items like usual, followed by flailing until Pidgeotto is down. This time I used a guard spec before finishing it off to make sure that Intimidate doesn't lower my attack. Next up is Venusaur, and I get lucky, one-shotting with a critical flail. My health wouldn't have been low enough to beat it otherwise. Gyarados is next, and a critical flail brings it to red health, but it uses Dragon Rage, bringing me down to red health. Perfect, I finished off with another flail. Next up is Growlithe, and I'm protected from Intimidate again. Although I'm no longer in red health, one critical flail was enough to take him down. Last up is Alakazam, who goes down in another critical flail. The crit luck I had this fight is unbelievable. I had 4 crits across 5 attacks. That's a 25% crit chance each attack. I'll let you guys in the comments do the math on that. I actually don't know off the top of my head the math on that. Other than getting poisoned a lot, Giovanni wasn't that bad. His Rhyhorn took a lot of time to beat, and I had to use a few potions, but the 6 X attacks, dire hit, and flail strategy did well. I was able to win first try. Next is onto Sabrina and her psychic types. I figured this would be an easy next step since her Pokemon have low physical defense and I'd be faster than them. The battle was nearly a total sweep. I was only able to get 3 X attacks and a dire hit before a single future sight almost took me out, but from there I was able to one-shot most of her team with Flail. Next, I decided to try and tackle the grass gym that I've been dreading. I was able to take out all the trainers just fine, but I didn't even stand a chance against Erica's Victory Bell. All of her Pokemon have Giga Drain, so it's incredibly difficult to survive this battle, and there's no battle items that give special defense to try and survive with. I'm gonna have to leave this gym for later still. Next up is Koga. I thought he was gonna be nearly impossible because all of his Pokemon know Toxic, but through a lucky break, after a few antidotes and many battle items, Coughing accidentally gave me regular poisoning with Sludge. Thanks to my leftovers, the poison hardly hurts me, and I was able to use battle items that I needed to slowly win the whole fight. I did run out of healing items at the end though, so it's time to start stocking up on Hyper Potions. Since we can use Surf outside of battles now, it's time to go to Cinnabar Island because that's still easier than dealing with Erica. Blaine almost went down with my item-heavy strategy until his Arcanine one-shot me with a critical Fire Blast. I may resist it, but I have almost no special defense, and Fire Blast is a hell of a strong move. A few more tries and many items later, I managed to eventually win thanks to Guard Spec keeping Arcanine's Intimidate from affecting me, and my low health from his first Fire Blast giving Flail enough power to take him out. After a quick stroll through the Sevi Islands, we're at a point in the game where the only progress I can make is beating Erica, and I still really don't stand a chance to her. It's finally time that I did it. It's time I grind to level 100 for the first time in a Pokemon Challenge video. I did everything I could to speed up this grind. First, I hunted down every last rare candy I could find. Then I caught myself a bunch of Meowths. Meowths have the pickup ability, so in Fire Red, they have a 5% chance to pick up rare candy every once in a while as I walk around. I can't use them in combat, of course, but there's no rule against them finding items for me. Every rare candy I find at this point of the game will save me an hour or more of grinding. Eventually, after hunting down every last rare candy I could, and the 7 my Meowths found for me, I grinded up to level 84 and used 16 rare candies to get to level 100. This genuinely took me over half a week to do. I had to take breaks because my hands were getting sore, and my hands never get sore. Share this video, make the pain worth it. Comment down below if it hurt you just hearing about the grinding. Finally, I decided to tackle the grass gym again, and this time it was a breeze. 2 X attacks and a whole lot of full heals to remove paralysis, and I'm able to flail my way through the gym. I can't believe that I had to be level 100 just to beat the 4th gym. Next, it's straight onto the 8th and final gym, Giovanni's Ground Gym. It was a total cakewalk due to Magikarp's high defense and Giovanni's Pokemon all using physical attacks. He hardly does any damage. In fact, with 6 X attacks, his attacks all do so little damage that leftovers heal me more than they can hurt me. I ended up very slowly sweeping the whole gym with Tackle. Only one boss left before the Elite Four, and that's our second from last rival fight. Even with my full X attack strategy, my Tackle is only enough to take Pidgeotto, half my level, down to half health. Magikarp is truly pathetic. His Venusaur uses Growth once, and a Razor Leaf, and even without a crit, it one-shots me. At first I was panicking, thinking I'd need to crit him just to win, but I thought of something great. I'll take off leftovers. As I built up my strength, I let Pidgeotto get me to below 5% health so Flail would have 200 power, then just completely swept his team. Unfortunately, I won't be able to use my Flail strategy for long, because it's onto the Elite Four, and I have to go in with no power points left because of Ghost Trainer Agatha. This is gonna be brutal. First up is Ice Trainer Lorelei, and even with 6 X attacks and being double her level, Struggle is really weak. I need to chug through quite a few potions. I may resist her ice and water moves, but my insanely low special defense still makes me take quite a bit of damage. Thankfully, worrying about items is a thing of the past because of my days of grinding on trainers and getting nuggets from my army of Meowths. It's a slow fight, but I win without too many worries. Next up is fighting trainer Bruno, who's a total pushover due to using mostly physical moves. 6 X defends and X attacks, and I can whittle him down with no problem. It takes a long time, but none of his Pokemon come even close to threatening me. The next battle, though, is one I've been dreading the whole game, Ghost Trainer Agatha. We all remember how bad the battle was with the Ghost Gym Leader in my Sunkern challenge, so I know firsthand how bad it's gonna be if I get cursed. First, the battle starts with Gengar using Double Team over and over as I build up my X attacks. Eventually he hits me with Toxic and a Confuse Ray as I use X accuracy and miss over and over anyway. I just keep repeating the process of full restores and missing until I finally land a hit, and it's still not enough to one-shot Gengar, as it drags the battle out for even longer. Luckily, I hit on my next attempt. Next up is Golbat, as I have flashbacks to my Sunkern run, and true to form, it hits a Confuse Ray early. 2 struggles and it goes down. Next up is Arbok, who has Intimidate, cutting my attack. Man, I hate stuff that has Intimidate. I'm weak enough as is. Thankfully, it misses its Screech and goes down in 2 struggles. Next up is a second Gengar, and this time it didn't have a chance to use Double Team, as I one-shot it with a critical struggle. Last up is Haunter, who survives struggle with a sliver of health, and puts me to sleep as we both use full restores. My second struggle crits, winning the battle. If Haunter had come out earlier in the battle and cursed me, I'd have very little chance of winning this one. Thankfully, those are the last ghost Pokemon in the game, so before Lance I use Max Ethers to get all my power points back. Now it's time for the semi-final boss, Dragon Trainer Lance. He opens with Gyarados, who intimidates to make me weaker, so that I have to use extra X attacks. Annoyingly, Dark type is always dictated by Special Attack in Gen 3, so Bite never stops being dangerous. I spam out my usual items and start flailing. Even after a crit at below half health, I don't do much. I can only get the real insane power from Flail if I'm in a red health. Next up is Dragonair, who I thankfully one-shot with a critical hit. I hope that was the Thunder Wave one. Next up is the other Dragonair, who I get less lucky on, not one-shotting. I also get less lucky because it crits with an Outrage and kills me. Dragon moves are special attack, by the way, so awful for me to deal with. Many tries later and I'm back at the same Dragonair and get a lucky crit, killing it. When I say many tries later, I mean it. Gyarados crits me with Bite all the damn time. Next up is Dragonite and I heal. No way Flail kills it at half of my health, and Outrage would totally kill me. He outrages me when I have full health and I'm left in red. One Flail and I get insanely lucky, critical hitting him. I can all but promise that he would not have died if I didn't crit. Last is his Aerodactyl. I flail and it doesn't kill him as my heart drops, but the idiot uses Scary Face when he could have finished me off. I heal for safety and decide to just whittle him down with tackles. A few minutes later, and I finally beat Lance. Now it's on to the final boss of the game, our rival. I used to dread him using his Pidgeot because of Sand Attack, but now that I have Guard Spec and X Accuracy, Pidgeot's a blessing. It can hardly hurt me, and it gives me a chance that I need to spam out my battle items. My insane amount of battle items later, and weirdly enough, Pidgeot just spams out Sand Attacks even though he knows it won't work on me. I assumed the AI would actually be smarter than this. I tackle him a bit, and thankfully he uses a full restore early so that it doesn't happen on a more dangerous Pokemon. I forget to use a Guard Spec and he slips a Sand Attack in, but I do 2 X accuracies just to make sure that I'm okay. Next out is Venusaur, who uses Growth and one-shots me with Solar Beam. I should have seen that coming. I guess no leftovers for this fight. Second attempt, and I'm at much lower health, powering up Flail. 2 Flails takes out Venusaur as he charges up his Solar Beam. Next up is Alakazam, and I take the chance and use a Guard Spec so that Intimidate won't hit me when I take him out. He lets out a Future Sight that I have to dread for 2 more turns. 1 Flail and he's down. Rhydon comes out and I heal up as the Future Sight hits me, nearly taking me out. Flail hardly hurts Rhydon as he uses Scary Face like an idiot. Like 4 times in a row. I don't get it. Then he missed with Rock Tomb and did Scary Face again. This Rhydon is the dumbest Pokemon I've seen all game. Brandon healed him though, so I guess I can be happy he's wasting full restores early. I wish he wouldn't use Scary Face this much though. I actually want to get into red health for Gyarados and Arcanine. Eventually I take him out. Second from last is Gyarados, and Guard Spec keeps my attack power in check. That said, there's no way 1 Flail would kill him at this health, so I heal and crit with a Tackle as he Hydro Pumps me twice, bringing me to red health. Exactly what I needed. 1 Flail and he's down. Last is Arcanine, whose Intimidate works since I didn't have a chance to refresh Guard Spec. My health is low, but not under 5%, so I heal rather than attacking. 1 Bite does more damage than Hydro Pump did to me. I take my chance and Flail, hoping he doesn't crit me as he uses Flamethrower. I'm left with 11 health. Absolutely perfect. 1 200 power Flail, I crit, and it's all over. I actually did it. I beat Pokemon Fire Red with a 1 Magikarp. Much like the Sunkern challenge, I genuinely didn't think I was good enough to do this. It's crazy to think that the hardest boss fights in the entire game were probably Brock, Misty, Erica, and a few random hikers in Rock Tunnel. The real boss of this challenge was the insane grinding that I had to do. More than anything, this challenge was just about an inhuman amount of grinding, patience, and a few smart tricks. For my next challenge, I think I'm gonna do one that's a lot more strange. Less grinding than Magikarp, and less creative tactics than Sunkern. I want to do one that's just weird as hell. My next challenge is gonna be Pokemon Emerald with a team of one Wobbuffet, a Pokemon who can only attack by counterattacking. If you want to see me do more challenges like this, please let me know in the comments or on Twitter. I absolutely need more ideas from you guys on what I should do next. I'm having a lot of fun making these. Also check out the playlist in the description to watch all of the Pokemon challenges that I've already uploaded. If you guys want to see more Pokemon stuff from me, I did a challenge where I beat Gen 1 with only a single Rattata, and another where I beat Gen 2 with a single Sunkern and no items. I also did a pretty goofy Let's Play of Pokemon Platinum that should be in a card in the top right. Also, come to my Twitch streams and tell me that this video sent you. I'm interested to see how many people actually do it. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.